Okay, well, it seems that after a pretty iffy start to the year, NXT seems to have finally rebounded. This is NXT Chicago. Show ended, give or take, about 10 minutes ago. So here we go through the results. First off, the first match of the night is Roderick Strong versus Eric Young. Opening up, the Sanity comes down to the ring. They're waiting in the ring. Strong's music hits. It's playing, and then suddenly Strong's actually sneaks up from behind out of the crowd, takes out Alexander Wolf and Killian Dane. Strong then immediately went after Eric Young. He clotheslined him out of the ring. They fought on the outside. Young began to fight back. He had a big belly-to-back suplex inside the ring. Strong then hit Young with a flying knee, but Killian Dane, they got out to the outside of the ring. Killian Dane came and hit kind of running crossbody onto Strong really hard. Young then distracted the ref, and Wolf hit a bicycle kick onto Strong. Young did a top rope dragon sleeper that he's been using recently. Strong then countered a Young top rope move with a big drop kick. Strong hit a pump handle backbreaker and then followed it with a flying knee and got a 2 count. The two brawled to the outside of the ring. Young hit his wheelbarrow neckbreaker finisher on the outside of the ring, but he rolled Strong back in, tried to get the pin cover, and that only got a 2 count. Young then hit a flying elbow and only got a 2 count. Strong then went for his finisher, but Young poked him in the eye. Young then went for another top rope move. Strong countered that with a big lariat, flying with a top. Okay, what did I write here? Sorry. Oh, Strong then countered that. He hit another flying knee with Young sitting on the top rope. That's and then hit a suplex into the backbreaker for a 3 count and the victory. Roderick Strong wins. Great, solid match to start things off. Not like the last show where I think it had kind of a car crash quality to it. I think this was a great, pure match. It got the crowd pumped for the rest of the night. And that's going to be a big thing because this is a unique NXT takeover in that instead of 3 title matches, we actually have 4. As our second match is the UK Championship match, Tyler Bate versus the Bruiserweight, Pete Dunne. For this match, Jim Ross actually came out to do the commentary with Nigel McGuinness. Kind of makes me wonder if that's going to be the team doing the new UK show. I know Jim Ross has pretty much been tapped to do the main announcing, but I could see McGuinness probably transitioning over to that to the UK show at least. Early on, Dunne locked Bate in the front face lock, then into a series of arm bars. Dunne managed to counter out of an arm wringer by Bate and into a head scissors. Bate drop kicked Dunne out of the ring. Dunne hit a release suplex on the ring apron. Dane went to locking on a series of arm bars, and he stomped on Bate's ribs. Bate countered out of a couple of suplexes and hit a running shooting star press. Bate then hit a gut-wrench suplex for a 2 count. Dane then tried to do another, Bate tried to do another running shooting star press, but Dunne countered that into a triangle choke. Bate managed to fight out of that. He hit a big short arm power bomb. Bate then picked Dunne up for an airplane spin and spun him around about 15 times. Then put him down, but only got a 2 count out of that. Dunne countered a crossbody with a forearm, and then hit a suplex power bomb and only got a 2 count out of it. Bate countered a toss over the top rope into a lariat. Bate then tried to go for his finisher, the Tyler Driver 97, but it got countered out of that, and Dunne went for his finisher, the bitter end, but Bate countered out of that into a DDT. Bate then hit an Asai moonsault. He then went for a suicide dive, but Dunne countered that, knocked Bate out, got him back in the ring, hit the bitter end for the 3 count. Your new United Kingdom champion is the Bruiserweight, Pete Dunne. And this probably was match of the night. It might be the match of the year. I don't know if there's going to be one better, at least in NXT. This was amazing. I mean, it had a great slow build throughout everything, but then the action came in, and the action was intense, and I mean, there's just so much you could say about this match, but it's so hard to say. Okay, our next match is the triple threat match for the NXT Women's Championship. Asuka versus Nikki Cross versus Ruby Riott. Right off the bat, Nikki Cross tossed her ring jacket at Ruby Riott, and then that enabled her to throw Ruby Riott out of the ring. Asuka then hit a running hip attack on Ruby Riott. Riott then went for a suicide drive on Asuka, but Nikki Cross ran in and clotheslined Riott. Cross hit Riott with kind of a chicken wing cutter. Asuka then come in and hit a missile drop kick on Cross. Asuka locked Riott in an ankle lock. Cross broke it up. Riott hit a flying head scissors on Asuka and then followed it with a deadly nightshade on Cross. Riott then kicked Cross into a German suplex from Asuka. Asuka got the Asuka lock on Riott. What happened was Ruby Riott climbed the top ropes, went for a senton from there, but Asuka managed to just counter it, lock on the Asuka lock, but then Nikki Cross broke it up. Cross hit a death drop on Riott on the ring apron. Cross then tied Asuka up in the ring. Asuka tried to do like a baseball slide. Nikki Cross grabbed the ring apron and Asuka kind of slid in between, and that tangled Asuka up. Nikki started pounding on Asuka at that point, got her back in the ring, only got a 2 count. Cross hit a spinning hangman's neck breaker on Asuka, only got a 2 count. Riott broke the pin up. Ruby Riott then hit Nikki Cross with an arm wringer Pele kick, but Asuka then came in and hit a running knee on Riott and got the pin count on both Nikki and Ruby Riott for the victory. This was probably the least exciting match of the night. I mean, it's painfully obvious too. They're trying to build towards NXT Brooklyn, which is the next takeover, and Ember Moon finally beating Asuka. Then I think Ember Moon is legit hurt. It seems to be kind of there's mixed reports coming out as to whether or not this is part of an angle or not. But yeah, exactly. Once Ember Moon got knocked out, I think it was painfully obvious that Asuka was not going to lose this. Not to mention they had the really tough task of I mean, the match itself was not bad. It had its moments. But they had the almost impossible task of following that UK Championship match, which really already kind of gassed the crowd at that point. And it's at this point they kind of threw us for a curve, because the main event is not the NXT Championship match. It's the second to last match of the night, and that's the NXT the NXT Championship match between Bobby Roode and Hideo Itami. Roode opened up trying to do his big glorious time. Immediately Itami went for a GTS. Itami hit Roode with a spinning elbow. Itami hit Roode with a series of kicks. Roode hit a blockbuster and got a 2 count. Roode hit a big neck breaker. Itami countered a second neck breaker attempt into a backslide. At this point, Itami started to target the shoulder that Bobby Roode uses for his implant DDT. And they were fighting for that for a while. Itami had a big running drop kick. Itami goes for another go to sleep, but Roode countered out of that. Itami countered a roll up into an armbar. Roode missed a blockbuster. Itami hit a Falcon Arrow for a 2 count. Roode then hit the Arn Anderson style spine buster. Roode hit a Hangman on the over the top rope and out of the ring. Itami then sent Roode into the ring steps shoulder first. And it's at this point Itami ran for a drop kick, but Roode just managed to roll out of the way, and Itami caught the ring steps and hurt his ankle. Started selling an ankle injury, so you have Roode with the bad shoulder, so he can't do the DDT, and now Itami's got a bad ankle, so he can't do the GTS. Eventually they got back into the ring. Itami managed to fight back just enough to hit his hesitation drop kick. He went for the GTS, but it hurt his ankle. Roode countered out of that. He managed to just hit a glorious DDT, but not enough, as he only got a 2 count on it. Eventually Itami came back, hit the GTS, but Roode was close enough to the edge of the ring that he rolled right out of it. Tommy rolled Rude back into the ring, went for another GTS. Rude managed to just counter out of it. Hit 2 glorious DDTs for the 3 count. This was a really good match too. A good solid pacing throughout this whole thing. I liked how they had the targeting dueling injuries. I don't know what they're going to do in terms of the World Championship or the NXT Championship and the next Takeover. Obviously, they're grooming Roderick Strong for a big push. They're grooming Drew Galloway for a big push. Or Drew McIntyre, sorry. Drew McIntyre for a big push. Tommy's still around. Cassius Ohno's still around. So I don't know what exactly they're going to do. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Tommy comes back and wins this at Brooklyn. Tommy, famously he came in with that kind of really big NXT class. He had, if you look, NXT was really, really taking off when he got in there. He was in there with Kevin Owens and Finn Balor, and even though they were kind of already there, Sami Zayn and Neville, and even guys like Baron Corbin or even Enzo and Cass on the tag team end. Those guys were all up on the main roster, and Tommy, because of his injuries, has kind of gotten from he got left out in the cold. It is kind of interesting to see what exactly they're going to do. Like, are they pushing to do the big, I hesitate to say redemption story with him, but, could they at least give him a short run with the belt? Okay, and that leads us to our main event, the NXT Tag Team Championship ladder match. The Authors of Pain versus DIY. Right off the bat, Gargano and Ciampa immediately started to go after the Authors, started, throwing forearms and everything. DIY then managed to get out of the ring, began pulling out several ladders. DIY hit stereo cannonballs and then go after the largest ladder, which is at the top of the ring steps, or the entrance ramp. At the top of the entrance ramp, I'm sorry. Gargano then hit a suicide dive through the ladder. Razor then caught Gargano and tossed him into Ciampa. DIY was incapacitated at this point. The Authors start setting up a ladder, and Ellering shouting instructions to them. And what happened was Razor starts climbing the ladder. Akam does not. Akam actually tries to hold the ladder in place so that it doesn't topple over. It was actually a really cool point in that match. DIY then came in and knocked the Authors down with a ladder and then dropped the ladder across their backs. Ciampa tried to climb a ladder, but then Razor was still holding, but Razor easily just pushed that over. DIY countered a Super Collider attempt into a attempt to climb a ladder. DIY then, what happened was there was some more brawling. Authors of Pain set up 2 ladders on the ring. So basically they were parallel to each other in between the big ladder that was now on the outside of the ring. They were going to hit the Super Collider onto those ladders, but DIY fought out of it, tried to do a couple drop kicks, managed to set the Authors up on the ladders that had been were breaching the ring barricade and the ring. They then hit basically dueling splashes off of the top ladder. The main problem is I think Ciampa leapt like half a second before Gargano did, and so the ladder that they were jumping off was kind of teetering a little bit. That actually kind of propelled Gargano a little bit faster, and Ciampa hit his splash. Gargano, not so much. His knees caught, I think it was Akam, but the ladder didn't bend like it was supposed to. Gargano just basically crashed. Gargano managed to recover enough to start climbing a ladder, but then Ellering pulled him down. Let's see, at this point, Ellering pulled him off of the ladder. Gargano hit Ellering with a super kick. The Authors start trying to tend to Ellering. He's telling him to get back in the ring. Gargano took, at this point, the Authors get back in the ring. They're beating on Ciampa. They grab a ladder. They're holding it like this. They're going to ram it into Ciampa. Gargano runs in, pushes Ciampa out of the way, and takes the ladder straight to the face. Let's see, Gargano takes, sorry. Yeah, at this point, the Authors start climbing the ladder again. However, Ciampa manages to get up just enough, grabs, I think it's Razor, and pulls, German suplexed him off the ladder and into a second ladder that had been set up in the corner. DIY then hit their finishers on, let's see, I think it's, again, I get confused with Akam and Razor a little bit. I think it was Akam. They hit their finisher on him through the ladder. They're knocked out. DIY starts climbing the ladders. They start climbing the ladders. They're just there. They're getting their hands on the belt. They're starting to pull on them. And the authors recover just enough to push the ladder out of the way. DIY is dangling. That enabled the authors to hit hit 2 Super Collider power bombs. The authors then climb the ladder, claim the belts, and win the championship, or well, retain. This was a really darn good match, especially when you have 2 big guys in a ladder match. That's usually a bad idea. So they managed to keep everything pretty well grounded. There was still some decent high spots involved. For the most part, the authors were not overly clunky on the ladders at all, which really could have been a danger in that case. After that, what happened was the authors celebrated. They go up the ladder. DIY stands in the ring. They're both Chicago guys. They broke in with Windy City Wrestling. They're getting a standing ovation. They thank the crowd. They start walking up. They go for one more thank you at the top of the ramp. And then Ciampa grabs Gargano and whips him into the LED board at the top of the ramp. Ciampa then kicked Gargano twice and then set up Gargano on the announce table and hit a white noise off of the announce table onto 2 other tables. And then just kind of sat there as the medical team comes out to attend to Gargano. So yeah, Ciampa's turned heel now. The crowd was quite vociferous in their "F you Ciampa" chants. That little, like I said, overall the match itself was great. They did a real good job compensating for the fact that guys as big as the authors of pain really should not be in a ladder match. That being said, the ending bit, not bad. I think it was one of those things you could kind of see it coming when you did. Gargano sacrificing himself to save Ciampa and not going for the belts, or doing something to try to go for the belts, and you could kind of see that look in his face like, what are you doing? You could have just, you could have taken advantage of this. And as that happened, you kind of got the sense that, there were some rumors that they were going to break up DIY. I would have personally just brought them up to the main roster again. SmackDown's tag team division isn't that great right now. I could have used an infusion. Like I said, the match itself, again, the match itself was great. The after bit, not bad. It did kind of drag on a little too much, because you had the whip into the board, and then you had him just kind of sitting there, and then Gargano starts to get up. Then he hits his running kick on Gargano. Then he hits Gargano with another running kick as he starts to get up. That's when the medical team should have come out or something. Instead, it's like plot, 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 plot. Then the white noise off the ring apron. It's like, okay, you're taking too long, guys. Wrap this up. Yeah, exactly. It's like at some point, too, he should have backed off. It kind of looked like he was leaving. And then maybe come back. Then that would, I think, help some of the pacing a little bit. But, again, the turn itself, not entirely bad. It was just a little clunky. Okay, like I said, this was the big rebound show after a pretty iffy start to the year for NXT. This show is getting an A. Backlash is going to have a lot to live up to tomorrow. Obviously, the next video is going to be the Backlash recap and review. No matter what happens, it'll be up Monday. Don't know if I'll be watching it Sunday or not. Like I said, I've given this an A, so see you all then.